Oh, hello. I didn't see you come in. Welcome to the first Hell If We Knowel, a 1950s type variety show holiday special for our podcast that's called Hell If We Know usually. Let me tell you, friend, you won't want to lay a finger on that podcast dial because we've got a star-studded list of flaccid impressions of celebrities uncharacteristically referencing famous theologians appearing on the show tonight. If we're lucky, I hear Chris's impression of Bernie Sanders quoting St. Augustine might even drop by. Ooh. Well, golly gee, who could that be? Well, golly this, it's my good friend and confidant, Jolly Chris. Have you come to conspire?
Later on. Right now, I'm just here to host our first ever holiday special with you.
Well, that's lovely. Man, let me tell you, I can't think of a better way to spend this holiday season, be it December 20th when we're recording this, December 21st and 22nd and 23rd when I'm hectically editing this, or December 24th when it drops, than doing a holiday special with you and or listening to it as a listener of the podcast. But first, a word from our sponsors. This Christmas, get ready for a not your grandma's summer blockbuster for the whole family.
Ho, ho, ho.
With a female lead unlike any other.
I'm just a lonely girl in the city, trying to have it all.
And a male lead you won't soon forget.
Oh, I'm just a white guy.
And a bad guy. Oh, I'm also just some white guy, but, with thicker eyebrows and dark hair. And a black or gay best friend for the female lead whose only job in the whole movie is to say, girl, and make the casting seem more diverse.
Girl.
This Christmas, everything will change for these two star-crossed lovebirds.
Oh, I didn't think I'd run into someone else getting ice cream on Christmas Eve.
My favorite flavor of ice cream is skim milk.
Because this Christmas, the greatest gift of all...
Oh, but I can't be in a relationship right now. I have to visit Mother Russia.
is just meeting some guy.
Girl.
This Christmas, Hallmark is proud to present the true meaning of Christmas is not being single. Coming soon. Boy, I can't wait to see that movie. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, that looked great. I really enjoyed the classic white guy there. I think he really speaks to me.
Oh yeah, I agree. It looked like every Hallmark movie, which is just perfect.
I really, there's not a lot that you can say poorly about Hallmark movies. They just sort of encompass the feelings that we all feel during the holidays, during any time of year, really. It's exactly what you want to be feeling when you want to feel it.
I mean, I don't know if I want to say that the Hallmark movie really encapsulates how I personally feel during the holidays, or ever.
Listen, if there's one thing that I want for my movies, it's to be directed by and created by a store that I never go into.
Fair enough. Oh, well, who could that be? Rap tap tapping on my chamber door. What would you look at that? It's the one and only, Abraham Lincoln, come to spread some Christmas wisdom to us. Isn't that right, Abe?
That's correct. I'm very tall and have big ears and a big hat, too, also.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Go ahead.
You ever heard about these slaves?
I've heard about them, yeah. Would you have... I thought this was about Christmas, but go on. I guess that's important, too.
Big fan of them as people, not so much as slaves.
That's nice of you. That really gets me in the holiday mood to hear you say that.
Well, you know what else would get you in the holiday mood, sir?
What's that?
I'd like to spread a little bit of Christmas cheer in the form of a quote by one of my favorite theologians, Thomas Merton.
Cool. What does Thomas Merton have to say about this wonderful season?
Well, let me tell you, if Thomas Merton were here, he would, here in the year 1865, he would definitely want you to hear the following quote. Advent for us means acceptance of this totally new beginning. It means a readiness to have eternity and time meet not only in Christ, but in us, in man, in our life, in our world, in our time. The beginning, therefore, is the end. We must accept the end before we can begin. Or rather, to be more faithful to the complexity of life, we must accept the end and the beginning both together. The victory of Christ is by no means the victory of my city over their city. The exaltation of Christ is not the defeat and death of others in order that my side may be vindicated, that I may be proved right. I must pass over, make the transition from my end to my beginning, from my old life, which has ended and which is now death, to my new life, which never was before and which now exists in Christ. What do you think about that, friend?
Oh, that sounds a lot like what Thomas Merton said in his book. I should have checked this ahead of time. Advent, Hope or Delusion in Seasons of Celebration.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that, but you could be right.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that, Abe. You can go away now, and Chris and I will talk about what you just had to say to us.
Say, do you think you could vote twice for the...
Yeah, what do you think about that, Chris? That was a weird encounter that I'm not sure how I feel about it being in the episode, but we're going to stick with it. What do you think about that?
Not quite sure how Abraham Lincoln himself showed up at your door, Barrett. No, but I really like that quote. I really like the ending part. He talks about victory of Christ is not about your ideology winning over somebody else's. It's not about your vision of God or of religion being better than somebody else's. It's just about spreading the love, man.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think that has a lot to do with what the Advent season is really all about. Because, Advent, people always skip this, and it kind of bothers me. People skip Advent and get straight to Christmas, which obviously, like, you can look at that in secular society, too, is, like, people will skip Thanksgiving and go straight to Christmas. Like, everyone just ignores the season building up to the day itself.
Yeah.
Just in favor of, because it's everyone's holiday and whatever. But Advent's really important, because Advent, it comes from some word in Latin that means coming, and it has to do with the coming of Christ. Be cool. Please don't be like 5 about this, Chris. Be cool. It's a very sacred holiday and time of year. Anyway,
listen,
Advent.
You want to know what Advent to me means?
Yeah, okay.
Advent
I really do.
Advent to me means that time of year before Christmas, where it's not quite Christmas, but you want it to be, and you get to light those candles, one of them being pink at the dinner table every night, and then you and your siblings all fight about who gets to blow out the pink candle at the end of dinner. That's what Advent means to me.
That is a huge part of Advent. But it's also, it's supposed to be about preparing the way. Like, sort of like the same way when you have, like, the what's it called? Holy Week before Easter, where it's like you're getting ready, like you're aware of everything that's going to happen. Cause
Lent, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's that too.
Pocket Lent.
Yeah. But, so the idea is, like, Advent means coming because it's about the coming of Christ. And it's supposed to be its own thing that we celebrate and observe in its own way. It's not just about, like, waiting for Christmas to come. It's about, like, being here in this moment of waiting and preparing for Christmas to come. And that's why there's always, like, the paraments are different, and there's all the candles and stuff, because it's, like, it's supposed to be observed separately. Yeah. And so it's, it's just important that we, I read someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone talked about, like, the 3 comings of Christ. One was the, please ease your eyebrows. No one wants to see that, / only I am looking at it, but... Anyway, the 3 comings of Christ, there's the one is through Mary and being onto earth, and chill with your eyebrows. And the second coming is obviously the second coming, which is also glorious with the end of time and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into that because I don't really know anything about that, and it's weird, and it's mostly speculation, even with the people who do know about it. And then the third coming is Christ in our hearts every day, like Christ's presence in our lives. And so Advent is the time to sort of observe that, the work of the Holy Spirit, the work of Christ on earth through the church, and like preparing that and making it into what it's supposed to be, as opposed to just Christmas is this time of celebration and joy. Advent is more of this time of observance and preparation.
I really enjoy that Advent is not just like Christmas light, it's preparation for Christmas. And I think that's a really important part to remember as we're coming towards the Jesus season.
There you go. Nicely said. And you know who else might say this nicely? Good segue here, naturally done. The 3 wise men. I have word from our radio correspondents, I guess, that they've got an exclusive interview out on the field right now. Why don't we cut to that real quick?
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right.
Star Chase 33 BC continues live on the GOAT, Yahweh's #1 hit music station.
Yes, sirree, we've seen quite a hustle from bearded men all over the world on this silent night. What many are describing as an infant so tender and mild, Applebee's would have it pictured on the front of its menu, cradled in a manger next to a basket of Anglo-Swabian fries.
What's Applebee's, Chris?
I don't have a prehistoric clue, Jonathan. I read the same teleprompter you do.
Anyway, Chris, let's get back to the rat race here in lovely Bethlehem.
That's right, Jonathan. It's a cloudless, degrees haven't been invented yet night out here in April, and...
Wait, did you just say April? As in, not December 24th?
Shut up, Jonathan. And yes, we're seeing men of great faith travel from all parts of the world just to see this tiny babe.
All 6 countries in the whole world? What's so special about this baby, Chris?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jonathan. Let's ask some of the travelers out here. Distinguished sirs, can you tell our listeners just what exactly it is you're out here chasing?
We've come from the east to follow this star, you see. We took it as a sign that the King of the Jews is finally come.
We've been on the road since we heard about its significance. I'm not even Jewish, but the Jews have had it tough for a couple hundred years. I just know they'll get something right this time.
I just done seen this star up yonder and I couldn't take my peepers off it.
Okay, so you've all just been following a star because it looks pretty?
I reckon that's about it.
And I see your bags and camels are quite full. Provisions for the long journey, I assume?
Actually, quite the contrary, my friend. We've each brought gifts for the tiny king. I myself have brought gold as a sign that the young king may survive long past the shimmer of its exterior and the value of its interior.
And I brought frankincense, an ancient aromatic substance of my people, that the mother may grind it up and smoke it to be calmed by its presence and care most perfectly for her child, the future king of the Jews.
Wonderful. And what have you brought, Caspar?
I done brought some myrrh.
Some what?
Myrrh, M-Y-R-R-H. It's a word, ain't got no vowels, so you know it's good.
I see. And what does it do?
I don't know. Just thought the boy might like it is all.
Interesting. Well, you are all very far from home, and I don't want to keep you much longer. But I do mean to ask, how just do you expect to get home?
Same way we arrived here, I suppose.
Actually, I done had a vision, you see. Boy in a pretty wingsuit told me to go home by another way. Figure I'd keep heading out west and see what there is to eat out there.
Well, Baltazar, Melchior, and Caspar, thank you for your time. We wish you a merry April and a happy continuation of your next solar cycle. Boy, someone should really invent a calendar or something like that. This is just getting confusing. Well, that was pretty neat. I really liked what he said about the April stuff. It's weird how we keep time traveling in this podcast, but I think that was pretty relevant.
Yeah, month to month to month and year to year. This is something that I heard about a couple years ago, and it was sort of interesting to me to think about. That Jesus wasn't born in our current day December. He was probably born somewhere around April. But can you tell me more about that? Is that true that he was probably born sometime around April?
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about April per se.
Okay.
I believe it, but I would if you told me he was born in July, I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't care. But yeah, it's interesting because what I've always heard, and again, this is a Hell If We Know thing, but it seems pretty solid from what I've heard from historians and stuff. So the reason Christmas is celebrated on Christmas is because there were these two festivals in different cultures in Europe, at the time that they were making when they were making Christianity sort of the dominant religion in the region, and really
the
trying
pagans,
to
wasn't it? Those dastardly pagans.
It was the pagans. There were two types of pagans. I almost said penguins. There were two types of penguins: the rock hoppers and the emperors. Yeah,
and tacky. An odd bird, but a nice bird to have around.
Yeah, but there's also more than two types of pagans. I said penguins again. But there's the two festivals that were celebrated in particular that were sort of not exactly despised, but in contention with a lot of what Christianity wanted to accomplish in secular culture, were Saturnalia and Yule. Oh, that's how Christians have always been. We were always wanting to dominate.
We don't like the way you
everything.
do stuff. You should do it our way.
Exactly. And even to a degree, not even just doing it our way, but just doing it in our name. Because we just have to be involved. We have to be dominant over everything. That's what the Crusades were about, kind of. That's what the whole coffee cup debacle is all about.
Oh my goodness, that Starbucks, that whole garbage.
Yeah. It's our idea of God can't defend God's self, so we have to defend God for God. Because obviously we're so much more qualified and wise and powerful that this is our job, to make God reign over everything, as if God doesn't already do that.
In the words of every Jewish grandmother,
Well said. Very
you.
well said. But there were these two pagan festivals that were centered around the winter solstice called Yule and Saturnalia. And for some reason, I actually resent this, that we got rid of referring to Saturnalia, because we still talk about Yule. Yuletide just means like the season of Yule, which is the old pagan holiday where they got drunk around a big tree, which is what we do on Christmas now again, obviously. But yeah, like, so we still do Yuletide, and we just pretend that's not what it means. But Saturnalia is a way more fun thing to say, and I wish we still said that, but for some reason that just went away.
Yeah, I would much rather celebrate Saturnalia.
Yeah, but we don't. So maybe you and I can bring that back, but maybe we can try and fail. Maybe we can not even try.
Oh, we can always try.
But that's basically where it comes from. It's because it was the winter solstice, and because like most pagan traditions were so centered around like involvement with nature and like the lunar cycle and the solar cycle and all of that.
Yeah, see, that seems like pretty okay humanitarian stuff that I feel like everybody would be down to just like live and let live. But why do Christians like want to destroy all of pagan? Like, was it just that pagans weren't doing Christian stuff, or was it specifically that they were doing pagan stuff that Christians wanted to halt? Because I don't think like pagans don't represent anything inherently evil, you know?
Yeah, no, they don't at all. They're totally cool from what I know. I've met one pagan, and she was kind of annoying, but like I still like her beliefs were cool.
I do feel like the modern day pagans are kind of like they're like wannabe emos. They're like freshmen in college, and they're like, oh, I heard about this thing called paganism, and Christians don't like it, so I'm gonna be it.
Right. Anyway, yeah, but I mean, pagans, like the tradition and the beliefs there are pretty neat. I don't see what's wrong with any of it, according to my Christian perspective. But like I said earlier, Christians have always wanted to just dominate everything, and it's part of this weird thing about like evangelism being such a key part of Christianity for a lot of people. Is like if you're evangelical, there's this idea that like the Christian belief has to be present in everything, and because it's so dominant in your life, seeing it present in everything means you want it to be dominant in everything, and it's just this really gross obsession. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're doing better now. We're not exactly saying nobody else can. I mean, I say we. I'm not actually a Christian, but you guys, you're doing a great job, buddy. You're not telling anybody they can't celebrate their holidays, and that's what the Christmas season is all about.
Well, I'm not. There are still plenty of Christians trying to pull that. So,
again, in the words of famed every Jewish grandmother,
well said, Chris. Oh well, isn't that just another rap tap tapping on my chamber door?
Somebody else is here with us.
Yeah, someone else. Who is this? Who is this? Why don't you open the door this time, Chris?
Oh, look, it's my Jewish grandmother. I'm not even Jewish, and actually half of my grandmothers are dead, but let's hear what she has to say.
Don't you only have 2 grandmas?
Yeah, half of them are dead, Jonathan.
Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up.
Hello there, young boys. What can I do you for?
Well, actually, ma'am, you showed up at our door.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, up in the head. It's been all Mechula since long as I can remember. Let me read you a...
Can I just ask real quick if this is anti-Semitic that you're doing this Chris's Jewish grandma who doesn't exist?
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's all good, honey.
All right.
Let me bake you some matzo ball soup, and we'll discuss Judaism together and whether it's not or is anti-Semitic.
Is Judaism anti-Semitic? Okay, carry on. And just, if anyone else is listening to this conversation between me and Chris's fake grandma, I guess just, it's so well-intentioned.
Thank you there, Jonathan. I wanted to share with you a quote about my favorite time of year called Christmas. This is a quote from a wonderful woman named Dorothy Day. You ever heard of her?
Yeah, she was was she Episcopalian or Catholic? I never can remember. But she was like a major religious
Jewish,
leader.
that's for sure.
That is for sure. Yeah, she was great though. Major religious leader in the civil rights movement.
Well, let me tell you about a time in her life that she wanted to share with us. A little quote by her. It says, "It is no use to say that we were born 2,000 years too late to give room to Christ, nor will those who live at the end of the world have been born too late. Christ is always with us, always asking for room where? In our hearts, that's where. But now, it is with the voice of our contemporaries that he speaks, with the eyes of store clerks, factory workers, and children that he gazes. With the hands of office workers, slum dwellers, and suburban housewives that he gives. It is the feet of soldiers that he tramps, that he walks, and with the heart of anyone in need as he longs for shelter. And giving shelter or food to anyone who asks for it or needs it is giving it to Christ." Love it. Fantastic quote. Dorothy Day is a wonderful woman.
She is a wonderful woman. Thanks for sharing that with us, Chris's fake Jewish grandma.
You're welcome.
You can
I
go
wondered
now.
if I could
Oh, man.
possibly just grab a couple of bites to eat. It's cold outside, and it's just really cold.
I would say yes normally, but honestly, I want to make this voice go away and become unproblematic as quickly as possible.
Yeah, you can scram now, Jewish grandmother. We don't we don't need any of your possible angry emails that you're going to bring to us.
Thanks.
Thank you, though.
Yeah, I didn't. Man, you never introduced me to your grandma before, Chris. That was cool what she said.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't quite been in contact with her for a couple of years, but it's good to bring her in. No, one thing that I really like that Jewish grandmother told me about that Dorothy Day quote is that we used to seek God. Humans used to seek God in sort of all these ethereal things, and now it's easiest and I think most effective to see God and God's work and God's love in everyday people like factory workers, store clerks. Your friend's terrible impressions of his non-existent Jewish grandmother. If you see God in all these, simple things, then you live a much happier and more fulfilled life, I think.
I think so too. And I think honestly, aside from like the idea of wanting it to be your own fulfillment and your own happiness, there's just a reality to that being like a very pure and true sort of discipleship. There's different schools of theology, obviously, everyone knows that. You and I know that. Probably most of the people listening to this know that, at least. I didn't want to say everyone knows that in case someone doesn't know that.
There's different schools of fish, I've heard.
Even schools of fish, yeah. And one of the different schools of theology is the, look at me. I forgot the name of it right when I was about to say it.
Oh, boy. Fish.
Theology, nope, that's
Theology
not
of the Butt, episode 6.
Yeah, that was a good one. Liberation theology. It's liberation theology because it's about the idea that Christ came in Christmas in the form of this lowly person in a lowly setting and then spent his entire life in ministry seeking out the people that were oppressed and marginalized and helping them. If we are to observe that aspect of Christ's coming down into earth and to follow that as disciples of Christ, as Christians, we should seek God in those same people today.
Yeah, no, I dig that.
Yeah, and we should do that same work with those same people today and try to learn from, in a sense, those same people, like understand God through the eyes of those people. Because there's this presence of God that's very real and undeniable in the marginalized and oppressed peoples across the world. And we're called to that, in a sense, both in our own sort of self-emptying, but also in our help and in our love of those who are oppressed and marginalized.
Well, isn't there that, there's that one quote in the Bible, I don't remember who it's by, but they say something about the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And, the meek and the poor will know God better than those who flaunt their riches and, flaunt how holy they are. The kind of people who are poor and just pray and don't have a lot of material possessions, those are the kind of people who are actually closer to God and his word and his love, right?
Yeah, Jesus says that a couple of times, and every time he says that, everyone around is super perplexed. And I think that's still something that people don't get today. And I'm not going to say I entirely get it, because that's part of the point, is a lot of it is stuff that you're supposed to struggle with and not quite get. But yeah, I think that's well said and well pointed out that that's a crucial part of Christianity and of liberation theology. And I think that's what ultimately Dorothy Day is getting at, especially as someone who's so involved with the civil rights movement. I think that's important to be reminded of during this season of Advent and preparing for Christ's coming.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, though, I think my Jewish grandmother is getting a little cold out there. While I'm letting her in, should we hear from some of our other friends who are also experiencing a sort of chill themselves?
Yeah, you know what? I know just the song. There's this song. You know what? I'm not going to get into it. Let's just play the song. I ruined that segue. Here it is.
Wow, I've had such a great time tonight.
Yeah, it's been pretty dope.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that you weren't a total creep the whole time, too.
You're welcome.
For real, though, the world's super messed up. I never expected to be grateful when guys just don't turn out to be monsters, but simple decency just isn't the standard anymore.
God, that sucks.
Yeah, you really don't have to tell me that.
Right, no, sorry, I should really just learn to listen more, I guess.
Man, I'm not looking forward to this walk home, though. It's so cold out there.
Oh, you can stay here if you want.
I really can't stay.
Alrighty, then see you next time. Yeah, so that song was very much unproblematic, and I'm grateful to have a modern rendition in a world that is
really quick solution to that problem. Although I will say, as much as I do think it's interesting and funny that that people are now like, isn't that sort of weird that like this guy's not letting the girl leave? I like the song. I love the duets that are made from the song, and I don't think there was any harm intended in the original writing and performance of that song.
Yeah.
Especially the elf version where Will Ferrell's standing outside the shower and that girl who I don't like, who probably played the ukulele in high school,
Zooey Deschanel.
Oh, God.
She's so sweet.
No, she's definitely the girl who brought a ukulele to Spanish class in high school and wanted attention so badly that she was even willing to play one of the dumbest instruments to get it.
Man, I played ukulele in high school.
Yeah, I bet you did, Jonathan.
Anyway, I will say, musically it is one of the better classic Christmas songs. I know, like, it's one of my dad's favorites because he loves the musicality of it. Yeah, and it's good music. But, like, even if it was well-intentioned, I think it was well-intentioned in a culture that didn't care about intentions, which means its well-intentions were very meager. Like, it was supposed to be kind of cute and sweet, but there is literally a line that says, "Hey, what's in this drink?" And they're just like, haha, that's the way it is. And then we should try to make it not that way.
Yeah, well, times of old are exactly that.
Anyway. Oh, look at that.
Who's this?
Yet another rap tapping on my chamber door.
T-A with an umlaut, P-P-I-N-G, tapping.
Yeah, you said pee-pee. Anyway. I've opened the door now, and look who it is. It's the one and only Bernie Sanders.
I've come to tell you something about...
Oh, God, it's not good at all.
Bernie Sanders' impression has been heavily corrupted by your anti-Semitic Jewish grandma impression.
Okay, let me get in character here. Hold on. Okay. Awake, mankind, for your sake God has become man. Awake, you who sleep, rise up from the dead, and Christ will enlighten you. I tell you again, for your sake God became man. Let us then joyfully celebrate the coming of our salvation and redemption. Let us celebrate the festive day on which he who is the great and eternal day came from the great and endless day of eternity into our own short day of time.
Oh, beautifully said, Bernie. You can't go wrong with some good Augustine there, so yeah, thanks for sharing that with us.
It's really, what has made me very thankful in this episode so far is the fact that we have so many Jewish people who are so invested in the message of Christianity and are just somehow willing to share it with us at the knock of a door.
Yeah, let me tell you, for one thing, as someone who lived and served in a setting of interfaith emphasis, that was a weird way to say that, for a year, there is a lot of people within Judaism and Christianity who are willing to work together for the same values. Also within Islam and Christianity and Baha'i and other things. That's just my little interfaith plug of the day, and I just wanted people to be reminded that it's good when the faiths work together.
Sure.
Also, I like the point you were getting, and sorry to make what was kind of a joke into like a real point, but that's what I always do on this podcast. So,
No, I really do enjoy that. The fact that now I think it's very easy to think now that religions are like against each other, and just by being one religion you hate the other religions, but that's really not the case, I think, in most of the world. And exhibit A and B right here with Jewish grandmother and Bernie Sanders.
Exactly. That is the clearest and most real example that we could ever come up with. Well, we've got an atheist impersonating Jews working with a Christian here. That's okay,
That's
right?
true. I'm not atheist.
Sorry. I didn't mean to misnomer you as a verb. Anyway, I liked what he's saying. I think we've sort of transitioned here. Jewish grandma was telling us about Advent. So was Dorothy Day. Dorothy Day was Jewish grandma. Sorry. This whole show has become so intertangled with itself in a huge mess. Dorothy Day as Jewish grandma, and Thomas Merton as was it Seinfeld? Abraham Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln, yeah.
Yeah, they had a lot to tell us about Advent, and I like what Augustine sort of transitioned us here, or Bernie through Augustine, or Augustine through Bernie, has transitioned us here into the Christmas day itself and the day of celebration, because that's really what it is about, celebration.
Right, it's about all the other religions telling Christianity that they're the best.
Exactly. That's the goal, really. Yeah, and what better way to celebrate than music? I mean, we were just kind of talking about some songs and the weird problems that do and don't come up with that. But I mean, I think as cheesy as it is, and as much as I hate most Christmas music, the music is one of the best ways that we have to worship. It's one of the best ways we have to interact with our own concepts and explain things that we can't explain with words. I mean, everyone knows that music is this incredible thing, and when it's done right, it is something that's really significant to the human condition and can be a really effective way of celebrating Christmas.
And especially Christmas music, I think. There's not really... There are those, couple Scrooges out there who are like, oh, don't play Christmas music before Thanksgiving. But I'm just like, at least for me, like, as soon as Halloween is over, you're allowed to start playing Christmas music. And in fact, I openly encourage it. Huge Christmas music advocate out here. And what do you think about that, Jonathan?
I am a huge Christmas music advocate in December.
So what, only for 24 days?
Yeah, it makes it, if I do it before Thanksgiving, it's nothing against, well, I could make other points that are against most Christmas music, but it's, for me, it has to do with the fact that it won't be special anymore by the time Christmas rolls around. And that's something that I will admit is like super subjective. Like, it's my own experience of it. If I start listening to Christmas music in November, by the time Christmas rolls around, I'm just sick of it. Like, it's not something that it gets me in the festive mood at all.
I feel that way about some types of music and some types of other things too. But I will say, if you play me Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas at any time of year, at any time of day, if you woke me up in the middle of the night on Tuesday and like we're blaring that song, it would put me from whatever mood I'm in into one of pure euphoria. That song is pure genius. Yes, I love that song. It's the perfect song. It makes me feel better no matter what I'm feeling. And I want to hear it all the time. And it doesn't make it any less good every time I hear it more often.
For me, okay, as someone, as the Linus in this story who's trying to make it all about like what Christmas is really all about.
Charlie Brown. Yeah,
it's I don't know. I won't say that song is specifically like anti-Christmas message. It's a fine, like, it's something that's happy, and everyone experiences Christmas differently, and everyone has a different way of celebrating, and so that's fine too. But like, partially, that song, it does the two things that I don't want Christmas music to do specifically.
Oh man! All right, tell me what they are so I can tell you why you're wrong.
It's a little bit commercial. The whole like, what do I want for Christmas? That's what it's about. What do I want? Blah blah blah. And then the other thing is it's a Hallmark movie in a Christmas song, which we already sort of discussed earlier. You kind of like the Hallmark movies. But like the idea of like going back to the trailer that we played for that Hallmark movie, like the idea that like, oh, Christmas is all about not being single and falling in love. I hate that. For one thing, there's already enough in culture like telling people, oh, you have to fall in love. That's the only way you'll be happy. That's the only purpose in life is to fall in love and to be happy with them.
It is the only reason you'll be happy.
No, I disagree though, because and like I'm never been in love and I don't care. Like when I was like a little boy, this is getting into weird like therapeutic like Jonathan's life story. But like,
how does this make you feel, Jonathan?
When I was like a little boy, I was like, man, I want a girlfriend, I want to be in a relationship, blah 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 blah. Because I saw so much of like in music and in the movies and everything, I was like, yeah, that's the way to be happy is to be in a relationship. And when I was in college, I started to be like, you know what? And I like started dating a few people, and I would always be like, nah, this isn't that great actually. And like I sort of realized that I like not being in relationships better than I like, unless I was like in a really great relationship. But that's the problem, I think, is that people really sort of force the idea of like you have to be in a relationship. A relationship could make you happy if it's a great one, but people force themselves into relationships that aren't great because they just so want to be in a relationship. I know that's what my experience was, and I like that's why it's stuff that like, especially when you corrupt the message of Christmas with it, make it be like this is the point of it all, and it's not. And I'm getting less and less coherent, but I've made my point essentially.
Yeah, so again, let's take it back to the sauce here, which is we're talking about why Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You is the best Christmas song, maybe one of the best songs ever. And that's because you don't even have to get behind the message, although I do myself. It's just a fun song. You hear that lead up, it's like, I do like the lead up. Christmas. And then it like about halfway through the mid intro, she's like, you! Exactly, perfect harmony there. And like you just got to get down and groove to that every time it's played, no matter what time of year, no matter what time of day. Your first point was that it's too commercialized. I don't think so. If it were commercialized, it would say, all I want for Christmas is a red Toyota Ford truck thing. I don't know anything about cars. But I think the fact that it's just talking about love, the purest human emotion, and the fact that Mariah Carey, who can get anybody she wants in the whole world, all she wants is this one person, that's beautiful to me.
I will admit I was kind of stretching for the commercial point. Yeah, I rescind that. I wanted to build up somehow to my main point of like, oh, the corruption. In a way, actually, I'm going to go back. I unrescind my point. The commercialization of love. Because, she's making millions off the song. And the way it's used in all these movies is just to make more money because they know it's a pop banger that everyone's going to get down and groove to. And it's not being used to convey anything pure. It's not actually being used to like promote love. It's being used to be like, blah, 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 blah. It's Christmas, and I'm going to sell, like, fake love the way every other song does on Christmas for the
music is about?
No.
All Christmas music... no. Okay, the best and funnest Christmas music that everybody loves to listen to and loves to sing is not the Christmas songs that are about something. It's just the ones about, like, enjoying your surroundings. Jingle Bells, for example. What does that even mean? Right?
I don't like Jingle Bells either.
Yeah, okay, well, then you're just in the minority here, because most people like Mariah Carey, most people like Jingle Bells, most people like these sort of Christmas songs that lack a substance but convey an aura about the Christmas time that, just makes you fall in love with the season.
Does it really make you fall in love with the season, though?
It helps me fall. It's the mood setter to the season. It's the dim light in a college dorm room of the Christmas season.
I do like the dim light in the college dorm room for the Christmas season. I have fond memories of dim lights in college dorm rooms for Christmas season. And that sounds like something that it's not. And I realized that after I said that. But anyway, yeah, you know what? That's fine. And I wouldn't want to take that away from you. You know what my favorite Christmas song is, though?
What's your favorite Christmas song?
Well, actually, my favorite Christmas song is Vince Guaraldi's Christmas Time Is Here. Just the, 8-minute piano solo of that he has is really fantastic. But that's not the one I wanted to actually talk about.
Can you hum a few bars? Oh, the Charlie Brown song.
Yeah, but okay. It was a song before that, and yeah. But Vince Guaraldi is the guy who did the Charlie Brown soundtrack. Oh, okay. Good for him. Yeah, he's like one of the greatest pianists of all time. Anyway, I was going to talk about a different one, though, but then I realized that's my actual favorite Christmas song, so I had to mention that. But I think part of the reason that I'm like starting to back down and like I realize I don't want to just take away the Christmas magic as you experience it is because one of the Christmas, really just the whole like Christmas album that I've been listening to more and more lately is Sufjan Stevens. He has like a 6-disc set of Christmas albums that he released one like every year for 6 years. And they're actually like really good. At first I was like, this is weird. That was before I even listened to it. And then I listened to it and I was like, it's still kind of weird. And then I listened to it more and I was like, you know what? This is actually really great Christmas music. For one thing, for me and my like nonsense, dumb little hipstery desires and tendencies, it does satisfy that aspect where it's like, I'm sick of like the stuff that I hear every year over and over again. And this is nothing like that. So it hits that for me. But also like, I feel like it does actually have, going back to your point about like nobody likes the Christmas music with messages, I feel like Sufjan stuff does kind of have like messages that I can really get into, because that's something that whenever I like really take in music, I want to like be aware of the message and really try to like dive into that, because that makes me enjoy it even more if it does have a message that I like. Yeah, so you're allowed to enjoy the Christmas music in any manner that you want. For me, it's a little more shallow, and I'm okay with Christmas music being not having a super deep message, just, like I said, conveying an aura of the season that I like. And I say that because my favorite Christmas song is easily, besides Mariah Carey, it is the Grinch song. And that is because... that is a great... Thurl Ravenscroft? What's his name? Never mind, sorry. That's his... Orville Redenbacher, I think. That's the one. He's just got such a deep, juicy voice. Mean one. Exactly. And one of my favorite, I got two favorite lines from that song. One of them is, I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. Exactly. Yeah, that's a great line. That's such a good song. I want a Christmas sweater. I don't have an ugly Christmas sweater, but I want a Christmas sweater that just says that one line on it, 39.5-foot pole, because only about 1 in 10 people would get it, and everyone else would be like, that's a really weird shirt. And, I would hope more people than that would get it. Maybe though.
I think without the context, or maybe one that says "seasick crocodile" on it. That would be.
Oh, that's a good one. I do like that line too.
They're just that song is so petty. It's so like just like straight in the face of this poor Grinch boy that you just gotta dig it.
That's fair. I will admit that's one of my top contenders. And it's so hypocritical too because it is like one of the ones that gets played a lot and everyone knows it, and it doesn't have like a real like message deep to it. But I mean, it is a great song. I would never deny that.
Like you can't hear that song and your heart not grow 3 sizes too big.
That's true. I'm with you. Thanks for bringing that up. That made me feel better.
Yeah.
I was pretty worked up over the Mariah Carey stuff, and now I feel mellow again. You brought me back to my natural state. One of the songs in particular that I've been really enjoying from Sufjan's stuff is Christmas Unicorn, which I don't know if you've heard that one.
This is not one that I've heard at all.
Yeah, no, that's part of it too, is he wrote like a lot of originals. But this is like, it's weird. When you're first listening to it, you're like, oh, this is like his I Am the Walrus. Like he's just writing nonsense stuff because it's fun for him, and probably because of drugs also. But like it's actually, like I dove into it a little bit, and I've really started to like the lyrics. Like at first I like.
Do you have a favorite lyric from that song?
I do indeed, but I've got to like build up to it because by itself it's just cheesy.
Okay.
But so it's like a 12-minute song, and it goes through all these like weird, just flowery sort of verses. Man, I should pull them up actually. I'm just gonna read a couple of them because
Christmas Unicorn sounds like something that somebody in Train Spotting would see.
Yeah, it does sound like that, doesn't it?
I'm not quite sure I can get behind this, but I'm willing to have my mind opened by the powers of Christmas unicorns.
All right. Well, that's all I could ever hope for, and I think that's part of what Sufjan was hoping for when he wrote this. And
what nationality is here? Sufjan?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think he's American because he plays banjo, and only Americans do that.
That's true.
I think he's just weird, and maybe I don't know if that's a product of being named Sufjan, or if he like changed his name to Sufjan because he's like, yeah, Sufjan. But I mean, he is a brilliant musician. There's no doubt about that. But there is doubt about whether or not my Wi-Fi will work and help me to pull up these lyrics. So I'm gonna give up on that. But yeah, he's got all these weird flowery verses that sort of like seem to be messes of different concepts that don't actually go together. But they're all like, if you really look at it, they all seem to present different aspects of like the Yuletide cheer and like different ways people approach not Christianity, but Christmas. Like there are Christian aspects to some verses. There are commercial aspects to some verses. There are like hallmarky, like, oh, just fall in love, blah, blah, blah aspects to some verses. And it's all just sort of like thrown at you like this like weird poetic way, but that doesn't actually make sense. And then towards the end, he starts repeating the opening line, which is, I'm a Christmas unicorn. And he goes like, I'm a Christmas unicorn. It's all right. I love you. You're a Christmas unicorn. It's all right. I love you. And I that's my favorite line in the in the Christmas season.
So you're never allowed to tell me that Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You is commercialized and shallow, because that sounds ridiculous.
No, because it is deep, because check it out. It's his way of wrapping together all these different concepts. It's his observation of our culture's dissection and reappropriation of Christmas purpose and value. He's saying, like, there's all these different ways people look at Christmas and all these different things people get out of Christmas. That's what he's getting through with the first few verses. And then he's like, you know what? Ultimately, here's the point of Christmas. It's all right. Which comes to like the whole crisis come to save us thing. It's all right. And I love you. Like that's what ultimately what we all need to get out of this, what we all can bring to this and receive from this, is that Christmas is a time of celebration and of love, and we're here for it together. And I don't think that's
you're allowed to feel any type of way you want to about that.
Yeah. Are you saying that to me, or are you like summarizing Sufjan's points?
The first one.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm willing to listen to that song and give it a try, but I'm not willing for it to overcome my love for Mariah Carey or for Orville Redenbacher's The Grinch.
Well, I will speak for Sufjan, as I'm sure he would want me to do, and say that's totally fine. And I'll speak for myself now, as I will definitely permit myself to do, and agree with Sufjan. It's
good
fine.
For you.
You know what? Even it's all right, and I love you.
You're hitting the high road here, and I'm not a fan.
Sorry, bud. So yeah, that's my favorite Christmas lyric. I don't know. Any final thoughts on that?
No, I just in general, I dig Christmas music. And
Sorry, you're being interrupted.
Who could this be?
Yeah, rap tap tapping on my chamber door. Do you want to open this one or do I?
Let's. I'll open it and we'll see who it is together.
Oh, it's. We'll probably just reopen this door in a minute.
Hold on.
Oh, I finally pulled up the lyrics. If you want to hear some of them.
Sure, you can go ahead and read them.
It says, I'm a Christmas unicorn in a uniform made of gold, with a billy goat beard and a sorcerer's shield and a mistletoe on my nose.
This is definitely the I am the walrus, I am the cuckoo of Christmas music.
It's great though. I'm a Christian holiday. I'm a symbol of original sin. I have a pagan tree and a magical wreath and a bow tie on my chin. So he's even pulling the Yuletide stuff on it.
Okay.
I'm a pagan heresy. I'm a tragical Catholic shrine. I'm a little bit shy with a lazy eye and a penchant for sublime. I'm a mystical apostasy. I'm a horse with a fantasy twist. Though I play all night with my magical kite, people say I don't exist. For I make no full apology for the category I reside. I'm a mythical mess with a treasury chest. I'm a construct of your mind. Oh, I'm hysterically American. I've a credit card on my wrist. And I have no home or a field to roam. I will curse you with my kiss. Oh, I'm a criminal pathology with a history of medical care. I'm a frantic shopper and a brave pill popper, and they say my kind are rare. But I've seen others in the uniform of a unicorn just like me. We are legions wide, and we choose no sides, and we are masters of mystique. For you're a Christmas unicorn, I have seen you on the beat. You may dress in the human uniform, child, but you know you're just like me.
Okay. Wow. I'm sorry for dissing it earlier. I really dig that.
Right?
I like how he brings together all the facets of the Christmas celebration that we all do being put together for Christmas, a celebration of family and of love and of snow.
Yeah. Most of all of snow.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. You might have actually turned me. I don't like it better, at least after having just heard you read the lyrics. I don't like it better than my Christmas songs, but I'm willing to accept that it's a viable and wonderful Christmas song for anyone to listen to.
Nice. I agree, and I'm glad you feel the same way.
We should keep this actually part in because now I don't want it on record that I hate that song because I don't.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nah, I'm willing to let you redeem yourself a little bit. You know what else we should do? We should answer that knocking on my chamber door from earlier.
We should. I think it's William Wallace telling us.
Oh boy, yeah. Not like only one of these people is from our timeline.
Oh look, it's William Wallace at our door. He wants to read us. What is it you want to read us?
You want to read it? Oh, sorry. I was just gonna tell you. You probably have your own idea of what you want to read to us, right, William?
I want to read you something that I thought was really powerful about the Christmas season. Is that all right with you?
No.
Well, I'm going to do it anyway.
I will not tell you what to do.
This is a quote from Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He wrote a book called God is in a Manger. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, I love Bonhoeffer.
Here it is. Who among us will celebrate Christmas correctly? Whoever finally lays down all power, all honor, all reputation, all vanity, all arrogance, and individualism beside the manger. Whoever remains lowly and lets God alone be high. Ooh, that was Australian there. whoever lets all the child in the manger and sees the glory of God precisely in his lowliness. That's from Dietrich Bonhoeffer there. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he is a really cool guy. Do you want to tell us a little bit about him?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Why don't you tell us a little bit about you tell us about him.
All right, yeah. So Bonhoeffer was a theologian in Germany in the 30s, which, as you know, is a very interesting time to be anything in Germany.
I don't think anything was really happening there then. What was it? Let's ask my Jewish grandmother.
Yeah, ask Jewish grandma. Bring her back into this. Please don't actually bring her back into this.
It was a mess, I tell you. They were telling us to go left and right in different directions. I couldn't keep track of anyone anymore.
It was anti-Semitic enough when you were just impersonating her, but now you're making light of the Holocaust as her.
All right.
It's pretty messed up. Anyway, so he was really involved with kind of like a resistance, I guess. He was the theological and religious leader of the time. He lived in America for a bit. He studied here. He worked here for a bit, but felt called to go back to Germany to sort of address the situation. And so he was actually part of multiple assassination plots to kill Hitler, and none of them worked, unfortunately. But that was something that he really struggled with like for like his whole life. Was like he believed so strongly in what he read and in what he had discerned about like human life being sacred and all people bear the image of God. But like, how can he honor these Jewish lives and everything and honor Hitler's life? How can he believe in the immorality of murder, but like seeing no other way to stop this massacre and this horror from happening?
Right. It must have been hard to be a German during that time period who wasn't down with the rest of the stuff that was going down in his country.
Yeah. But so he was really involved, though. He sort of formed like this church that was counter to the church that Hitler had corrupted. He was part of writing the Barmen Declaration, which basically was just a series of rejections of what Hitler had said about Christianity and what the German church proclaimed at the time. And he was part of lots of like movements to try and get Jews out of Germany. And and he was part of those assassination plots, which, like I said, was like something that was really I guess just problematic for him, but like he ultimately decided it was what needed to be done, which I don't think anyone would really like be able to dispute, really. I mean, even like I believe that murder is bad, obviously, but
that's a bold stance there.
I know, I'm willing to take the bold stances, but it is a hard thing to do. Like if you do, like I think he felt really strongly about murder being bad and that it's never okay, and ultimately was just like I still have to try to kill this guy.
Well, I think murder is... I was going to come in with a William Wallace.
Yeah, I noticed.
Well,
Sorry, you were just coughing, right?
I think our friend William Wallace has at least one thing to say about murder, don't you?
Probably.
They may take our lives, but they will never take our freedom.
But yeah, so I like, what was I saying? Oh, I was just telling you who Bonhoeffer was.
The history of Bonhoeffer there. No, so that's a really interesting context to view this quote in. Again, he says, and anybody who lays down all their power, all their vanity, all their arrogance during the Christmas season is going to be the one who celebrates Christmas, quote, correctly. You don't have to celebrate Christmas in any way other than humbling yourself before everyone, before those you love, before those you don't love, specifically those you don't love, and just trying to be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with not just our own humility, but sort of the path that humility sets us down, and the realization of others' humanity and of others' dignity and worth, and our need to work together and to love one another well, which is sort of what Christ came here to really demonstrate.
What a good guy, that Christ.
He was pretty all right, but sort of in light of that and in that spirit, we do want to ask you, the listeners, for your money, because we're just so humble and we need it.
But the money's not for us, let's be clear.
Right, it's really not. We talked about this and we thought about this for a while, and we wanted to really do something for Christmas, because we have like 5 listeners and we really wanted to mobilize that power and do something with it, because when you've got it, flaunt it, and we have 5 listeners and we're going to use them for good.
We've got whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yeah. So yeah, we looked up, obviously, I think you, the listener, have probably heard about this, but all of California is ablaze and horrible things are happening. And I guess a lot of the fires kind of fired out now, but still everything is burnt down. So we were looking for ways to try and help that, because obviously any time of year you don't want people to be homeless or to lose everything, and it is our responsibility to help one another. But especially during Christmas, we wanted to really try to do something about it. So we are going to ask you to join us. Both of us are donating. Chris didn't say that yet, but I'm assuming he's donating. Do you want to publicly declare that you're not going to give any money?
I'm not going to declare that.
Okay, perfect. So Chris and I are both donating, and we're going to ask you to donate too. Chris has a PayPal set up, and you can give to that, and everything that gets given to us, we will give to this GoFundMe for this school in California called ANOVA, which is a school for autistic people ages, I think it was 8 to 22, I can't remember now, but it got completely burnt down, and they're trying to raise many hundreds of thousands of dollars to just completely rebuild. They're going to have to start over, and they're not getting very far so far, but we wanted to try to really do whatever we could to give to that and to help them. So we're asking you to join us. Chris will tell you what the PayPal is. And before he does that, I just wanted to say we do have gifts for those of you who donate. If you give $1, tell them what they get, Chris, because I forgot.
Hold on. So for $1, Chris or... Wait, that's what you said. So for $1, Jonathan or I will draw you a picture of whatever you want and write a personalized note for it.
Right.
For $5, we'll email you a scanned and autographed picture of Jonathan's little sister dressed up like Guy Fieri.
True.
For the high rollers, those who donate $10 will send you digital copies of all the extra tracks we used to make this episode. So that's all the songs and little skits we did in this episode. You'll get a digital copy of that for $10.
Yeah. And feel free to donate more than that. It is for a good cause. We're not keeping any of it. That would be super messed up if we did. We really, it is Christmas and we wanted to do something meaningful. So this is our attempt at that. We'll let you know how it goes. We'll keep the PayPal open through January, I think, and just at the end of that month so that people have time to listen to this and to respond. We will, at the end of the month, we'll donate whatever we've got, and we'll let you know in our next episode and on social media how much we raised.
Yeah, so the PayPal that you can send your donations of $1, $5, $10, or more dollars to is HellifWeKnowPodcast@gmail.com, and you can just enter that on PayPal and donate your monies. So we really appreciate your donations.
So spread the word, help us out. We're trying to do something good here, and we're grateful in advance. We're preemptively grateful for everything that y'all are doing to help out with this.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of 'tis the season to give and not so much to get, Jonathan, do you want to tell us about our last little segment we've got going here?
Yeah, so I wrote a song, and it's gonna be what we close with. That's all I have to say about that. No, it's not. I'll say some more things about that. Yeah, it's sort of in the idea like this is a weird Christmas for me because there are a lot of horrible things going on, and I'm really upset about a lot of things, and it seems like it's difficult to understand how to celebrate and to appreciate Christ's birth and Christ's ministry in a time where it seems like everyone is neglecting that and we're just letting the world turn to so I wrote a song about sort of that discord of like it's Christmas and Christ has come here, and that statement in that birth and in that life has been made, and there's value, and that is something to celebrate while also pursuing the call that was presented to us in that birth and in that ministry. Understanding and mourning for the ways that we neglect each other and neglect creation and all the trouble that comes with that, while also trying to re-embrace everything that we were made for and celebrate Christ's birth. And so that's kind of what the song is about, I think.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to absorb the message of the Christmas season through the musical tidings of Jay Free.
Thanks, man. Have you not already listened to it? I sent it to you.
I have.
Okay, well, I was going to say, like, you might hate it. We might have not wanted to do this whole segment. But cool. I'll take that as your approval, and that's how we'll close the show. So thanks for listening. As always, if you have any questions, corrections, or suggestions, send them to us at HellifWeKnowPodcast@gmail.com. We're on all the social medias as at HellifWeKnow. Probably not all of them, but all the relevant ones. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. There's so much more that we could do. There's so much more for us to say. But Merry Christmas anyway. baby born without a home. A mother sworn to give us hope. A father standing by their side. And we command our harsh reply. And oh, what joy that this is all. And oh, what sorrow is this all. And oh, what gifts we hide away. But Merry Christmas anyway. Child come to bear a light. To keep the image sanctified. So through the pipelines, guns and hate, Merry Christmas anyway. And oh, what joy, then this is all. And oh, what sorrow is this all. And oh, what gifts we hide away. Merry Christmas anyway. Merry Christmas to you. There's so much more that we could do. There's so much more for us to say. Merry Christmas anyway.